If you've worked with athletes who struggle to breathe during exercise, you're probably familiar with the terms vocal cord dysfunction, or VCD, or paradoxical vocal fold motion, or PVFM. But there's a new term that's been popping up over the last few years, and that is EILO, Exercise-Induced Laryngeal Obstruction. So why the change in terminology? Why the shift? Let me break it down for you. Historically, speech pathologists, ENTs, would use the term PVFM or VCD to describe what's going on, meaning that the vocal folds were adducting or coming together, causing a narrowing of the airway. But what researchers have found is that it's not just the vocal folds many times that are adducting, it's the supraglottic area, the area above the vocal folds. So if you think of it like that, then VCD, PVFM, those terms just won't work because it's not describing the whole thing. So that's why the term EILO, Exercise-Induced Laryngeal Obstruction. So it refers to the whole larynx. So the key word also is exercise, right? Because that refers to that this is happening when the patient is exercising under exertion. If the symptoms happen during rest, then it's just EILO, inducible laryngeal obstruction. Now there's another development that's been happening in terms of diagnosis. Historically, again, the fiber optic laryngoscopy that would be done more at rest in the chair or maybe right after exercise. And we know that this disorder, it can resolve very quickly, and with athletes it's often not there at rest. So if you're looking at it during rest or right after exercise, frequently it's not being captured. So what is popping up more now is CLE, continuous laryngoscopy during exercise. And typically this is done using a stationary bike or a treadmill. And when you do it with CLE, you can actually see it happen in real time and you can capture it. So that's something that's new. That shift is new. Now, the only thing is that even though there's more of it happening in the clinics around the country, it's still not in most ENT clinics, unfortunately. So the shift in the terminology, EILO, is important for speech pathologists, not just because of the vocabulary, but to be precise, to be current in the term, and to be aligned with ENTs, pulmonologists, other medical people that we deal with when describing the condition. It's also important for athletes to know the change so that they can align themselves with the medical community and so that they can understand that it's a mechanical issue of what's happening at the level of the larynx. So, if you're working with someone who has trouble breathing, especially during exercise, think EILO rather than VCD or PVFM. Now, this shift is not just anecdotal. You'll see that term EILO in published research articles in the journals across various disciplines, and major institutions like the American Thoracic Society, the British Journal of Sports Medicine, and others are also starting to use that term and referring to these symptoms as EILO rather than what they used to call exercise-induced VCD. So the bottom line is that the terminology is changing because our understanding is changing. We've done more research, and there's more research out there, and we know now that it's not necessarily just the vocal folds. And recognizing EILO as the more current term also helps us to stay aligned with our colleagues and also to remain current and also to better explain to the patient and their family what's actually happening at the level of the larynx.